Hi everybody, it's Nathan again. Welcome to another episode of Take10, the art challenge show, the daily art challenge show, where I try to find 10 minutes to draw something for myself. Today we're on episode 28 of 30, so I'm almost done with the art challenge, which is pretty cool. Looking forward to not having to record a video every day, although I have enjoyed it very much. It did serve the purpose of getting me to draw more, so that's good. That's always good. But I think now that I've got the fire going, I can do it without recording a video every day. And actually, I've started a new challenge too, where I'm doing the drawing a day for 2015. So it's a 365 challenge, basically. That one was inspired by Ryan Wheaton and other people. Mentioned him plenty of times in the Artcast here. I'd like to go ahead and right off the bat let you know what I'm doing here. This is my Samsung Galaxy 10.1 Note tablet. It's a basic Android tablet. It's not even the newest model. I think it's the Note 10.1 version 2 or something. They're on version 4 now, I think. At any rate, it's a very decent Android tablet. And I've done quite a few great things on it. It's got pressure sensitive screen and it's built-in stylus, as you can tell. Very handy. I'm using an app called ArtFlow, which was also a recent resuggestion. It's I've downloaded all these tons of art apps, and I've only barely scratched the surface with most of them. Because as soon as I found Layer Paint HD could do the stuff I wanted to do as far as digital painting went, that was all I thought about. I didn't care about the rest. When you don't have a lot of time, that you find the first thing that works and you kind of just run with it. Started out with Sketchbook Pro or Sketchbook Express or whatever, Autodesk Sketchbook mobile app. But unfortunately, when I migrated from my old Motorola Zoom tablet, which didn't have any pressure sensitivity or anything like that, to this one, I found that the app had to be paid for again to get the full version, which was kind of annoying since I bought it already. But that wasn't the clincher. The clincher was the tools just weren't what I wanted. I couldn't do digital painting on it as easily as I could on some other stuff, so I moved on to Layer Paint HD. And it's very good. I've done some other paintings in that. You can see those on my Tumblr, nathandrawsdaily.tumblr.com. It's not bad. It's very versatile. I had no problems with it. I just wanted to try something different, and I already had ArtFlow installed, like I said, because I'd usually grab any art applications I find on the Google Play Store just to try out, because you never know when the next big thing's going to come along. And when someone else mentioned it, that they used it like for digital painting, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot that was out there. I've actually set the button on my pen to be the color picker. For those of you familiar with digital painting, you'll recognize the importance of a color picker and something like this, and the ease of being able to do it with a button press on your stylus is pretty nice. Because being that this is a tablet, I don't really have any keyboard to work with. So I'm sort of stuck with working with what I got here. And this app is actually designed to be pretty intuitive. The menus sort of roll in and out from the sides like this. Pick my tools, my color palette, which I've actually done on the surface over here. You can't actually see it very well, but I'll slide over a bit. Let's see what's on there. Just so I can use the color picker to pick the colors instead of having to go back into here. You can adjust brush size and opacity here. I'm just using a pencil brush right now, so it's pretty much 100% opacity and tiny little brush size. I just wanted to get a drawing down before I started painting on it. And I'm just playing around, really. I've used this on my phone so far, which you can see on my various social media posts, especially Instagram. I've gotten back into Instagram lately at the, not request, but the mention of some other people, some other art people I really respect, talking about how much engagement they've been able to get on Instagram. And I had an account in the early days, but I found it was just mostly, it was too social media, not enough, art stuff. There wasn't really any way to promote the kind of stuff I wanted to show to an audience that I thought would find it appreciative. I would find appreciative for it. But things have changed. Apparently, Instagram is not just for people who happen to have an iPhone and want to show you what their lunch looks like, or their cat, or whatever. There are a lot of really good artists on there, and they are showing some excellent stuff. So it's really fun to just check out what's going on there on a daily basis, actually. It's become sort of what Twitter is to most normal people, to me. Because Twitter's cool and all, but I have trouble keeping up, and it's really hard to follow because it's just like a torrent of information. I mean, there are thousands of tweets every day just from the few people that I follow. It's difficult to keep up with. But Instagram, since they're photos, not only are there fewer of them, but you can sort of control the importance of the things you see. You can search tags. If you just browse through, it's a little bit like Tumblr. One of the reasons I love Tumblr so much. It's just so easy to post that everybody posts to it. And I've actually, instead of starting to switch over to painting, I've just sort of started going in and adding value to my line drawing. Because I do that sometimes. It's called jumping the gun, kids. I don't recommend it. But I still do it all the time. Just gonna give him a little hat. Everything's funnier with a hat. I didn't have a lot of plans for this. I just wanted to do something I'm fairly confident I know how I would execute it in other software, so I can compare the software to others. So if you know what you expect to get, and you can see what you get, that way you can tell how well the software works for what you're trying to do. Just wanted to do sort of a... Instead of using the eraser, I'm actually switching back to the canvas color and drawing over it. Just sort of a painting technique. You would just paint with whatever color you wanted to cover up. Now that I've gotten rid of my main source of that color, which wasn't in my palette for some stupid reason, I decided I didn't need it. Dummy. I didn't think I'd be doing this much with a pencil, quite frankly. Yeah, I like it better without the nose. Maybe we can do some kind of, like a flap here or something. I do too many of the same kind of structures in my creatures. They're too homogeneous. Big pupilless eyes, little like nostril noses like fish. Too much of that. Shake it up some. It's an alien, you know? Who knows what they look like? If you don't, especially if you don't describe the environment they're from, it's open season. You can have whatever you want. It only has to look believable in a physical sense. It has to look like a solid object. Unless it's a ghost or something. Ooh, that's a bit weird. News. Now, Artflow, I mentioned before I had to pay for Sketchbook Pro again, and that was sort of irking me. Artflow is free to try. You get basic features, but if you want to use the advanced features, you do have to actually pay an upgrade fee. Things like layers limited only by the size of your memory, and undos limited only by the size of your memory. Stuff that I think is actually worth it for the price of the software. And I love the fact that they give you you get a free version basically until you decide that you need those features. Sketchbook Pro's model was to do the same thing, but the problem with that is that I was already used to the features that I'd paid for before. That was what was really irking me, is that I'd bought it already. And it already was only a marginal solution to what I wanted to do, so finding something else was not a big gimme for that. Not too difficult a decision. It's funny how aliens can actually teach you or reinforce your human anatomy, because they've got to be based on something. And if they're humanoid, meaning bipedal, 2 arms, walk upright, have a head mounted on a neck, that kind of thing. As long as they fit that basic humanoid structure, you can just modify human anatomy, generally, and you get what you need. I usually either go for like a dwarvy kind of stout anatomy, kind of like what this guy's shaping up to be. or like a wispy elven kind of anatomy. And I'm not lost on the irony of the fact that I'm using fantasy archetypes to draw aliens is not lost on me. But I've been thinking about Hobbit today. I'll tell you, he had a really good alien design. The first movie for Alien Nation became a really cool series, a TV series and series of TV movies later on. But the first, the movie had a little better budget, obviously. Although the designs were a little bit cruder than the TV show. But they did some really nice, subtle things with the designs of the aliens on that show. They were bred to be slaves, so they were physically stronger and more durable and have more endurance and everything than humans. But they also had built-in weaknesses like a strong kind of acidic reaction to salt. So they were easily controlled. They're also hyper-intelligent to make them able to run the complicated machines of the master races, I'm guessing. But anyway, to make them look different from humans on Earth, they're bald with sort of a reticulated giraffe pattern on their skin instead of hair. That acts as an identifying mark also, which makes sense if you're going to breed a race of slaves. You want to be able to identify them quickly without having to do anything to them. So you sort of grow pattern into their looks. It's kind of a genius move for the design of a character. And they had this weird kind of chest. It was hugely barrel chest, but concaves really well into this strange, flexible abdomen thing. They're supposed to have a really super high lung capacity. And I'm guessing that because of the chest was all like that, if that's their head, they're kind of bulky, right? Big, chunky fellas. The chest was sort of like this, but they immediately curved in like that to their pelvis. Just like that. So a human actor can still play that pretty easily. But it still looks alien, you know? Especially if you keep their head upright all the time. And their heads are sort of extended back to suggest larger brain cases. Their ears were not extended out past their flesh. They just had pits like frogs. Interesting concepts. Anyway, time for another layer. Today's inspirational artist, I've been thinking about this one, and it's just slipped my mind. No, sorry. Today's inspirational artist is Eric Powell, who is a comic book creator and creator of one of my favorite comics of all time, something called The Goon, which is a little hard to explain, but imagine like a horror comic where the hero is a two-fisted kind of brawler character. Not the smartest guy in the world, but the toughest guy you ever want to meet. Basically a thug, but a charming thug. And he's in a world populated with, witch doctors and weird Frankenstein-y monsters and all kinds of strange stuff. Just sort of like all the sci-fi 60s and 40s and 50s book characters and movies come to life. It's the backdrop of a Depression-era kind of gangstery type. Vaguely superhuman. He's just really, really strong and tough. There's no indication that he's any stronger or tougher than a human can be. He's just the guy you don't mess with. It's almost like Gasoline Alley or something, one of those really old strips, if it was redone by a horror writer after a bender. It's fabulous. I recommend checking it out if you have any inkling towards any of those genres. And his art is amazing, too. He does really good, sort of, I guess they're gouache paintings, watercolory type stuff, and, of course, line art and stuff for the inside, but the art's really good. The stories are even better. So, I recommend that. Eric Powell, today's inspirational artist. I love his subject matter. I love the way he handles it. I love his art. Like everybody else on these inspirational artists today, he inspires me. I want to do what he's doing. Maybe not with comics so much, because I'm finding that comics take so much effort over such a long period of time that I'm unable to sustain enough enthusiasm to really bring it home. But I definitely want to get the feel of my illustrations to feel like what he's doing. Because it's just so damn impressive. And he's got a great independent creator kind of thing going, because his Goon's all his. It's his IP, and he does what he wants with it, and it's really popular. I'm assuming he's probably making his living off Goon alone. It is published by a major publisher. I think Dark Horse. But as far as I know, it's an independent that he made up. So, he is my inspirational artist for today. Definitely check him out. Links below, as always. Just my brush size here. Smaller. Darker. I'm sure there's probably some better controls for that somewhere in the app, but I haven't found them yet. Because I'm too busy painting in it. That's one of the fun things about not having any time. Fun in a detrimental way. You don't really learn any shortcuts, which probably would save you time. Because you're too busy trying to assess stuff. The fact that I'm able to actually try a new piece of software is pretty impressive to me. It's hard to find time to work in software I know how to use. God, I'm not going to have enough time to do any, even a tenth of my inspirational artists on this series. I've only got 3 more shows to make for this. But, I think when I do back to the new show, the less frequent, more in-depth show, I'm going to have to start doing shout-outs, because there's just so many good artists out there that I find really inspiring, that teach me so much, either directly or indirectly. And thanks to the internet, I can actually thank them, personally, in a way that it'd be possible for them to hear. Not that that's important to me that they acknowledge me thanking them. That's not what it's about. I just want them to realize that they have helped. They do help. And I, for one, greatly appreciate what they do. So, that's my disclaimer, apology / thing for not being able to get to all the artists I want to in this video series. 30 days of this is not enough for me to have an artist today and tell you about them. So it's good to hear more about that. I'm liking the way you can sort of blend the colors. I'm guessing just a standard brush. It was one of the ones you didn't have to pay to unlock. And I hadn't thought of this before, but the layering the pencils underneath the paint in a transparent way, it's actually working out for me. Built-in palettes too. Some nice stuff in this software. It really is. Anyway, it's late. I have to go to work early in the morning again, so I'm assuming I'm pretty close to my 10. I'd like to thank everybody, as always, for watching, sharing, liking. If you got anything out of this, please pass it on to someone else. Maybe they will too. If you have an Android tablet, definitely check out the free version of Artflow, or an Android phone, even. And if you're interested in seeing what I'm doing for the Daily Draw Challenge for 2015, check me out on Instagram, or my Tumblr, or Facebook, or Google+, all those places. Thanks to the magic of reposts, it's going to be everywhere. So, I will leave you with that, and as always, take care, keep making stuff.